want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
And in the red
Get pumped.
we
got this.
Right. Right then, here we go. Welcome to episode 51 of the Chippy Tea podcast. This is your chance, your opportunity to eavesdrop, to catch up with a phone call that happens every week, roughly. It happens regularly between me, Tony P, and
Danny D from Flipping Sweet Co.
as we catch up and find out what the hell we've been doing all week. And it's an opportunity to catch up with some screen print related, but no guarantee expressed or implied, banter between me and Danny as we find out if we've been busy, if we've been fed up, if we've been absolutely ecstatic and pleased with what we've decided to do with our lives, or whether we're thinking about going and working for Morrison's. And or Erin. And so we'll kick this week's episode off like we normally do, because I'd love to see the fear in Danny's eyes, because he's done no preparation whatsoever. He's what have you been doing this week, Danny? Well, tell me what's lit your fire, what's reignited your passion for screen printing this week.
I don't think I was reignited it, but I'll show you my show and tell. I'll show you what I had on press most recently.
Yeah.
Very striking. Are you ready for this?
Let me get me old man viewers on.
Look at that.
Fucking hell.
You like that?
Gold and fluorescent.
Yeah. Innit? Look at that.
And a base.
Look how soft and light it is. I don't know if this comes across, but
It does, yeah. That almost looks foily.
It
looks like foil from here.
Nice that, innit?
Yeah, what's the product?
A bit longer. What's the product? I'm telling you. No, well,
You bastard.
So,
it's a Magna product.
No, and you'll be shocked to hear this. So I'll leave it here for show and tell's purposes.
Yeah.
Wear it like a bib. It is, we all know by now, Aquaflex white base.
Yeah.
International coatings, plastisol green, which is a custom
strips.
mix.
Straight out of the tub, or?
Oh, no. So it's obviously the international coatings is a mixing system. I actually bought a pot of Max Opaque lime green, and it wasn't lime green enough. So I scrapped that idea. I went back to my old mixing system. I mixed a lime fluorescent green. The pot of ink that came out after that mix was nowhere near bold enough. So basically I just doubled up on fluorescent yellow and fluorescent green until I got a colour that really actually properly popped, which I believe this does.
So are you using International Coatings mixing system?
Yeah, that's what I've used for a lot of years.
7006, is it? Or 706, 706? Ultra Mix.
What? Pound per tub? About that, mate. Yeah, not far off.
Ultra Mix.
Yeah. I've used that for about, a lot of years.
So that's a finished ink system. So when you say you're doubling up, we're not breaking any ratios, and we're not breaking any pigment loaded rules. It's just you're changing the colour according to what you want.
Yeah, so you can actually use, I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can actually use these pigments straight out of the pot if you really wanted to. So I don't believe it's not like you have a base where you can only mix 10%. You know,
yeah, calling them pigments is the wrong thing. So they are what we call RFU, or ready for use mixing system. So yes, you can. If you took a swatch of every one of those colours and gave them to your customers, you'd never mix another colour. You just say these are the colours you can have. Off we go. I really like International Coatings as a mixing system. My only issue is I couldn't get it. We used to sell it. I used to sell it when I was working with John.
Well,
When I say I can't get it, think of an auto and how much ink it eats.
Right, yeah. To be fair, I'm running into trouble at the minute with two different ink mixing systems. I'll go to order and be like, oh no, we've not got that colour. Which actually brings me onto a small tangent, which irked me deep to my very core. I ordered. Well, there's only two ink mixing systems I use, so I shall leave it up to you to decipher which one you believe this story relates to. But I needed the yellow variant of this particular ink mixing system. And I ordered it, paid for it on the website, expected it to come next day, and then a box came with all my other stuff apart from this ink. So I called up said supplier, who shall remain nameless for the moment until I slip up and say it. And they said,
well, we know it's one or two.
Whether it's either one. Oh no, sorry, we're actually going out. Even though you've just spent the past few weeks advertising it on Instagram, showing off we've got this system. We've run out. Why don't you just use ours instead? It's exactly the same. I said, are you sure? Because this particular ink mixing system has a very specific purpose. They've never been bothered before. I like them. I'm not slagging them off. I'm only playing. This is tongue in cheek. All of this. I'm always tongue in cheek. Throw me off now. Oh yeah. So we've got our own ink. Why don't you try that instead? Now then, I said, all right, yeah, no worries. I'll take your word for it. So I took my word for it. And now, unfortunately for them, I wouldn't have known any different if my mate Judah from Floodprint hadn't have got in touch and said, oh, I've got a few pots of this particular ink system spare. We don't use it anymore. Do you want them for cost of shipping? I said, oh yeah, buzz him. So I paid for them. And just so happened, one of them pots was the specific yellow I had purchased.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're not even close. Not even close. So I was a little bit disgruntled.
I think you're changing M3 for M4, aren't you?
Well, it's not Rutland, but same type. In a way, yes. In a way. Anyway, so that hurts me. So when the salesman... What's that saying? If a salesman's lips are moving, the lion.
That's the one.
Moral of the story. Anyway, back to show and tell. So yeah.
Do you want to know why that is, by the way?
Yes, please.
That yellow is hard to get, as in raw material. And it can only come from America. And,
right.
So they can't get it. It's simply not here. But in England, there is a guy who makes colours.
All right.
He's one of the last guys who makes colours. And he was heavily persuaded, to make that yellow because the whole system is screwed if one of the colours is dead.
Yeah.
And one of the colours just wasn't available worldwide. It wasn't just available to us, it wasn't available worldwide. It was a major disaster. And the solution, although not perfect, is at least a solution that we can handle and deal with. And if you're open about it and say, look, you need to just double check all your colours that have got this yellow in, which, by the way, is an 80% usage. Yellow and scarlet, red, yellow, scarlet, and white. Yellow, scarlet, and white. They're big users.
So would I be right in assuming that if you happen to go to a number of screen print suppliers and they all have their own ink range, would it be fair in saying it probably comes from that bloke?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that'd be
because it's made in England. Now, I know the relationship between the seller and the manufacturer, and the manufacturer's not happy doing it. No, that's not what I do. I want to do it. It's not what I do. I'm not going to make lots of money on it. I don't have my own system. I don't have my own range. It's not like you're going to swap to me, because as soon as the supply comes back in, you're going to drop me like a big donkey pile of shit. So he's only really doing it as a favour, just to keep us going, because of this massive shortfall of the chromium or whatever it is that goes into yellow.
It is chrome yellow. Is it chrome yellow?
I think it's called chromium. The raw ingredient that's just in short supply globally.
Well, that explains that. Well, I should advise that if that one particular colour's missing, probably best not to advertise on your Instagram that exact colour at the forefront of the range. just a friendly bit of constructive criticism. Anyway, do you want to know what my gold is?
I do want to know what your gold is, yeah, because I like that and it looks really soft and there's obviously no base underneath it, so it's direct, is it?
It is. It's got white base on it.
Oh, is it?
I've based it, yeah. Which I don't normally do. But,
No, I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm really happy, so I'm happy with it.
What is it?
It's 24 karat gold from Total Ink Solutions.
Who the fuck
So it's a
sells
little
Total
bit
Ink
pricey.
Solutions?
SPE. I've been
Right,
really
okay.
impressed by their inks, to be honest. Total Ink, I only use it for sort of the odd thing, but from what I've used, I've been quite impressed.
Total Ink Solutions. Yeah, I know they are. I think I've seen some. Saw some yesterday, I think.
I think
Looks
they're
like
American
somebody-
based.
Yeah, where I was yesterday, it looks like somebody had bought a full system and now it's been put in the corner, gathering dust. Yeah, only because they're buying the big bulk of everything else.
All right, so not a slight on the system, just
No, it's just one of
circumstances.
those. Well, let's try this, and a shop that could afford to have 16 5-litre tubs just not doing anything.
yeah. I mean, I've heard if you were to sort of rank, so the thing that sort of drives me is opacity, which is why I've been looking at the max opaque because it's very opaque.
Oh, it
Basically,
is.
like
It's an
you
old
said,
school link. Yeah,
it's old
proper
school.
old
It's
school.
not been milled super loads of times. So my sort of ranking on priority of what I need is opacity, and I think it was sort of obviously you've got your max opaque systems, your Rutland, Willflex, international coatings, and then from what I was sort of sold and told, Total Ink Solutions is sort of in that Willflex international coatings range, very similar to each other. How true to colour they all mix, I don't particularly know. So, but just what I've heard.
The data for plastisol mixing systems has been out there for such a long time that it's pretty much tried and tested and done. And I say 99, if not more, % accurate on mixing systems. And there's not many left that haven't invested in calibrating the colour accuracy.
Yeah.
I know the two that you mentioned a long time ago were interchangeable.
Right.
So
Didn't know that.
the yellow that you couldn't get from one, you could buy from another.
Right. And you'd get the same results.
Yeah, so the story, and I'll have to be careful for slander because it is just hearsay. But the hearsay story was the staff at one company all left and started up with another company,
Right.
and the recipes matched the original company. So somebody had the data somewhere in the back pocket when they left.
Someone slipped it on a USB, yeah?
Somebody had it on a USB somewhere, and the recipes, the data was almost exactly the same. And with that being, I used to run an M3 system, and I could slip in an Ultramix colour, and if I watched it carefully, and it was all right. You know, there were two blues, there were two yellows, there was two reds, and they were very similarly named. Instead of blue 1 and blue 2, it was blue A and blue B. There's a coincidence. I wonder if they're exactly the same. And they were very, very similar. Now, as a disclaimer, that was 10 years ago. And
Yeah, it could have changed.
both companies since have refined their raw ingredients, and you'll probably find it'll be harder to mix and match now.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting little bit of a. If you ever can't get one particular colour, it's worth a try.
I like that gold. I like how you've got a plastisol gold on a water-based base, and when you folded the shirt, it did actually fold. It didn't crack.
Yeah.
Or snap like a piece of old cardboard.
You could stab through it if you were so inclined. Not that you should. Not that I advise that. That's very unethical.
No, I wouldn't advise that either. But yeah, it was very flowy. I quite liked it. It flowed with the garment. Nice that, mate. Good job.
Thanks, mate. So you've seen my show and tell. I won't ask you about your show and tell, but whereabouts are you?
I ain't got a show and tell.
Well, that's why I didn't ask, because I know you wouldn't.
I am now in Minnesota. So
Who do I know in Minnesota? No, that's Florida, isn't it?
Minnesota. So it's
Everpress?
north. Who?
Everpress? Is he Minnesota way?
I don't know.
I'll have to brush up on his
Minnesota Inc.
Oh yeah, that's an easy one. Duh.
So this is where the headquarters of SPSI are, and SPSI are the dealer, the main dealer in America for MHMs, and they also are an ink supplier and a mesh supplier and a machinery supplier and dryer supplier. They're a big player.
And a little bit of crack on the side.
Yeah, dealer.
Got to supplement things, haven't you? So you're spending a bit of time in there, are you?
I've been here a week. I visited a company yesterday that I've been to for, I think, 4 years now. So I've been going there for 4 years. Obviously, we've got a pandemic break in the middle, but it's been 4 years, and it's a good one to go to because they implement my ideas. Hi, Stephen.
He's allowed one today. There'll be a few comforts about with chips and that, so that's why you can hear him a lot, because they'll be waiting for the old bag of chips to fall. Yeah, that's what it'll be.
Yeah, so this is a place that I go to. This is your typical screen print shop. Now, I've had some conundrums this visit. This is one that I wanted to talk to you about. Whether you've got any ideas or not, I don't know. It goes around staff training. I don't know how to say it without being condescending, but the level of staff that we get in this industry,
Don't say it about sisters.
Is low. It is quite low. I mean, it's. I thought it was bad in England, but up here where jobs are plentiful, and this is when I were a lad, if you got a job, you had to hold on to it. You had to keep it, because heaven forbid, if you got fired, you weren't finding another job. You weren't working because there were no jobs out there. And if you want, getting a job was really cherished. Getting a job you wanted was almost impossible. Just getting a job.
Yeah. I think even now, to be honest, but you don't just walk out of one job into another day nowadays.
I think you can.
Since the 80s, like, but...
This is what I'm saying. I think because of the abundance of jobs at places like Amazon and McDonald's and Tim Hortons, and I guess you can just walk into a job.
I guess you can, but you're walking into a low starting point, and I guess it's harder to progress. Maybe, I don't know.
Nobody cares about progression. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Stick with me, I'll make you a manager. No, I just want money. I'm only doing this for money. What? I'm not doing this to be liked or to get better or have a status. I just want money. Yeah. And up here, the average sort of wage for what we're doing is about $20 an hour.
Right.
Well, that's still
not bad,
17. That's still 17 quid an hour, man.
That's fucking more than we're getting.
Yeah. And people are walking out of it because, I don't like this. It's hot. It's sticky. It's dirty. It's messy. Oh, it's boring. Oh, I don't like him. I don't like her. So I'm off. What are you going to do?
Find something else.
Go work down the road at the steel mill, or go work down the road at McDonald's, or do whatever. Target a warehousing. Anything.
It's funny, because I've got mates who I cannot relate to.
No, you haven't.
Well, yeah. I've got mates who swear blind to me. They are, and I believe them, and I don't judge them either for it. that they're so happy in life. They've just got bog standard jobs. They have an easy, simple life. They go to work and then they spend the weekends doing whatever they want to do, and it's easy and simple. You turn up, you go home. You turn up, you go home. You turn up. Low-paying jobs, but they've got a very simplistic life. And they're happy as chuff. And I just I've gotten, and I respect them for it because they found some, they're happy within themselves, and you cannot judge that, and you cannot begrudge them of that. It's ultimately what everybody should want in life. But I that just don't register with me. It's not. I have to have something stressing me out and a target and a bigger picture. Otherwise, I just don't think I'd be happy in life. I think there's a lot to be said for a simple life, and maybe it's maybe a lot of people are more than chuffed to bits of that. And I guess people who are happy to go from job to job in states, and that's the way it is.
Well, I'll give you an example. So here I've got a guy who is a competent machine operator. By competent, I mean you can set up a 6-colour job, can run it, is fast. He's not the cleanest worker in the world, but I can cope with that. And he can load it between 800 and 900 an hour. Right. So this guy is a workhorse. Throw him all your simple stuff, just leave him alone, and he'll kick shirts out all day long for whatever you charge, $1, $2, $3, and he'll be making money and contributing to the business. And he's done a job, and he's not knowing he's not concentrating what he's doing, and he's loaded some shirts crooked. So rightly so, they've pulled him in and said, look, you've loaded these are fucked. What we're going to do is we're going to suspend you for a couple of days. So that's 2 days at home without pay, basically.
Wow.
And I think it's like a third. Do that here? It was a third strike or something. It wasn't just one isolated incident. Okay. So he's gone, well, I'm not happy with that. And I thought, I don't think I'd be happy with it either, but I can see where this is going. And so he's come back in. And on the first day, they said, right, okay, go on to that job there. And he's looked at it. No. And walked and gone home and just left.
Well.
And I thought to myself, do you know what? I can sort of understand him, although I come from a different perspective altogether. I can sort of understand him because for 3 years he's been stood there throwing shirts on a press all day long, being the hero, and he's had all that responsibility on his shoulders. And then, all right, he's fucked up, he's made a mistake. But, there's more than one person on the shop floor. But he's made an error, and they've come down heavily on him and suspended him for it.
Depends if it's a repeat offence, then, or if it's a little bit, if it's harsh on somebody who's just made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. I mean, it's impossible not to when you must have printed tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of shirts over those years. And if
the point I'm trying to get to is it's a heavy responsibility.
For what is it essentially a basic pay packet?
A very low wage. You get a very low wage, but you've got all the responsibility of making sure that print looks good, it's always in the right place, it's stacked, it's counted.
And you could go get the same wage at Target.
It's a heavy responsibility. Or you can go to Target and just move that box into that box. Move stuff from that shelf to that shelf. Go to McDonald's and practice, would you like fries with that? There is no... What's the worst thing that could happen? You give somebody a chocolate milkshake instead of a strawberry milkshake.
Do you know what I feel like? Maybe that is a slight injustice in the industry and a slight miscalculation on print shop owners' part. In my eyes, if I was a teenager looking for a job and I had my ambition set on, I'd really love to print T-shirts. Like walking into a screen print job, stood at a press all day printing shirts, for me as a teenager would have been, whoosh. I didn't think you could do that. Those opportunities are not there for me round here, ever. I had to go out there and make that opportunity for myself. I'd have been, doing the jobs that we've just been talking about, and that was it. That was my limit. And either of those have had to come by around here. So to walk into a print shop, but I guess, all right, in the auto world, is loading and unloading shirts, but it's still a skill, There's still a level of skill involved.
It's a huge skill. It's a huge skill with a responsibility. It's the responsibility aspect I can't get my head around.
Well, that's the bit that's missing, isn't it? Miscalculated. Maybe that responsibility. Because let's not forget, as a print shop owner, those people stood at your press. Your entire business relies on them loading shirts properly. Yeah. So maybe that should be paid for. Maybe that responsibility should be taken in as a calculation. That's easy for me to say that. I don't like paying people either. But, I guess maybe it's something to consider.
This shop where I'm at is it's a bit of a throwback, but that's an awful word. So in this industry, we've got retail printers, which is sort of end user, high end. We've got the blue chip agency printers, and then we've got the promo printers, the promotional houses. Now, promotional printers, by default, don't get a lot of money every time Squeegee moves. It's a very, very tight industry where in this industry, it's dog eat dog. You'll lose a job. You will lose a job absolutely for a penny.
Pennies. Yeah.
You'll lose a job for a penny. And
you're doing quantity. You're doing huge volumes for pennies to make,
And it reminded me of Leicester in England, which is very, very similar. A very similar sort of setup where you've got to keep your overheads low. But there's keeping overheads low and being a tight old bastard.
Yeah.
I'll give you a for instance, okay? 5 automatic presses. And on the whole shop floor, imagine how many jobs go through. They make around about 80 screens a day. So there's lots of setups, lots of small runs, lots of big runs, lots of stuff happening all the time. There are no colour visuals anywhere. A colour visual doesn't exist. And so I said, well, at least we can do is get a colour printer down here and print out a visual. It's too expensive. A colour printer, an inkjet printer is too expensive.
Fuck-ups are way more expensive.
Yeah. And this is the point I need to try and get across to them in my report to them, is that, look, if you're trying to save money, if you're going to lose money because you buy a 60 quid inkjet printer and maybe put 200 quid a year in ink and paper through it,
you're on business, aren't you?
You should close now. You should absolutely shut the doors.
Yeah.
You're doing something fundamentally wrong. It's either your pricing structure or your payment structure or something. Something's wrong. There is such a thing as a busy fool. You have got lots of work. You are busy, but I think if you're not getting the right money every time that squeegee moves, there's a danger of undervaluing what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
And I saw the price list, and I looked at the price list, and it looked like a 1990s price list. And I thought, well, to be honest, it wants an extra quid sticking on everything. And if the customers, the argument is the customers will walk. Well, then you have to find something different that you're offering. Do you give a good service? Do you give a fast turnaround? Are you in constant contact with the customer? Is your feedback, your communication better than everybody else's? Because they can buy the same Gildan t-shirt with the same 3-colour print on from anywhere. So when you offer a service to an agency, there has to be something better about you than Joe Bloggs down the road who's got one press. He's got his mum and his sister working for him who he don't pay. He's never paid tax in his entire life because it's all in his uncle's name. And he's doing it out of a shed that he doesn't pay any rent on. He's got 0 overheads. So he's always going to be able to print cheaper than you. But the difference between him and you is the communication to the customer, the rapid response, the on-time delivery, the information feedback on the status of the job. All these things have a value. And what you might find is the people buying the print, because we're in agency territory now. The people buying the print work for an agency. They're usually in their early 20s. They sit on the phone all day and they're given a task. Okay, this new internet threads, they want some threads for their threads. Okay? Okay, you've got a budget of 100 grand. We want some t-shirts, some pens, some bottles. We want some cans. We want some bags, and we want some of those. So there's your budget. Go find out how many t-shirts I can get for that money. All right, if I use this printer, I get 10,000 t-shirts. Use this printer, I get 12,000 t-shirts for the same money. Use this printer, I only get 8,000 t-shirts. Well, I'm going to go to this one, the 10,000 one. Why?
Yeah.
Well, he's a bit cheap and nasty. The quality's a bit bad. The 8,000 one, I don't get enough t-shirts, and he never contacts me. And so they place the order, and then they realise they've got no communication. They don't know where the order is. When it turns up, it's wrong. They're in the wrong position, and they don't want to do anything. They can't help you get out of the problem. And the poor call handler is in the middle because they're getting all the shit in the middle. So the agency salesperson is in the middle. They're responsible for the shirts not being on time or being wrong. And when it comes to next time, they're sort of like, well, I used the cheapest, but God, it was a nightmare. What about if we lose 2,000 t-shirts and I use the 8,000 guy? He's got a computer system where I can see everything that's happening. I can log on. I can know when it's getting, and I can tell me customer when it's getting delivered. And I'm getting all this feedback and information about my job. And when it turns up, it's always right. Fuck it, it's worth paying the extra quid. Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. You've got the three options, and you said you're going to go. I think naturally, subconsciously, most people are always going to go, "Well, go for cheapest and get more shirts." Like it's an instant reaction, unless one of those three, maybe the one in the middle or maybe the more expensive one, has done a really good job of putting across their USP, their unique selling point. And this is where, as you as a shop, I suspect we're all penny pinching at this point. I guess over here in UK, if you look at price points, printers of a similar nature are all very much thereabouts within a range of each other. Some slightly more expensive, etc. So we're all fighting for work. What is it that I do? What is it that other shops offer?
What makes me different
over the others? And there is a market for everybody. I definitely believe that. I think there's enough work going around for everybody. But one customer might have a preference to a certain type of printer over others who offers a particular type of service. And it's up to you to put it out there and make it obvious so that those people can just cut out the shit and get straight to what they want, which, hopefully everybody just says, damn it, flipping sweet.
Yeah, you have to have a USP, something different. And if you are something different, it adds value to the product that the customer buys, charge for it. I'm going to try the Liquid Death.
Is this your first one you've tried?
Armless Palmer. No, I had one yesterday. Armless Palmer. I couldn't resist it.
I tell you what.
I didn't even know what it was. I bought it just because it had that name on it.
I'm going to say. Staying in that cabin in woods with bears around, you nearly fucking turned into Armless Palmer. You did well getting away with that one.
Didn't even see one.
What a shame. Would you have, if you'd have saw one, would you have gone, oh, take that off. It's in a bear now.
Yeah, I really wanted to see one.
Unless it ate you.
From my car out the window.
Yeah, from a distance.
Yeah.
Through the barrel of a shotgun, just in case.
While driving away. That's when I wanted to see one.
Hey, you know what I saw of a week? What I saw, and it's very sad actually. So a whale.
Did
a massive fuck off whale beached on beach. And the poor bugger died. But it was humongous. It's mind blowing now. You don't appreciate it. And the poor bugger had just swam ashore. I'm sure it went well to have got this close. Maybe it couldn't fight the tide, And they cordoned it off, and you could see the poor bastard breathing and blinking. It was horrible to look at. It just died because it was just too big and too heavy for anybody to get it back into the sea.
I didn't see anything like that on news or up.
It was on news. I don't think it's I won't I don't think it's uncommon to happen across the UK. So it's not going to be a major breaking news, to be honest. I mean, it don't happen every day, but I'm sure throughout the year, a couple of times it happens. But they eventually it died, and they got it onto a big flatbed lorry, which were towed by fire engines. So like a fire engine towed together, and then a flatbed massive lorry, and it took that much power to drive it off, and it went past my house, and unbelievable, what a sight. But in a way, it's in a way on me. But in a way, for me, it was sad, very sad. I'm not usually that. I don't know what the word is. Yeah, it don't really bother me, but it was just sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, screen printing. What we're talking?
Is that why we're here?
talking about?
Is that why we're here? It goes back to training. I'm sort of the skill level is low because the skill level of what we're dealing with is low. University graduates don't finish university and go, I'm going to go sit on the end of a dryer, catch some shit for a while. No, it's not a glamorous job. I'm going to go breathe in some spray
pubs, don't
they? Yeah, Primark. I work at Primark. So it's a difficult one to do. And it saddened me a little bit in that, God, this is such a hard thing to do that if you do get somebody good, you can't hold on to them, especially not if we punish them for a fuck-up. Fuck-ups are hard because you shouldn't do fuck-ups, you shouldn't make them, and your system should be robust enough to catch them. But, it's the real world with lots and lots of fires happening at the same time, and the operators bear the brunt of that most of the time.
Yeah.
So even with a standard operating procedure, have you checked this? Yes. Tick, sign. Have you checked the Pantone colour? Yes. Check, sign. Have you checked the position? Yes. Check, sign. Everything's checked, everything's signed, the process is good, everything's okay. And then, an hour later, you're walking past, you go, is that straight? Oh, what you loaded, mate? This one's not straight. All right, yeah, okay. 10 minutes later. This one's still not straight. Look through that pile. There's any more not straight? Oh, fuck. 80% of them are not straight.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you on drugs? And then it starts,
Yeah. I think this is it. I think, well, you've got to be accepting and you've got to be understanding of errors. It happens. Human nature. But if it's a repeat offender, I mean, if I go to Greg's and nick a sausage roll and I end up in court next to a bloke who is notorious for nicking sausage rolls from Greg's and he's been doing it for 10 years, the prosecutioner is not going to say, all right, Danny, you're getting a year in prison and your mate next to you is getting a year in prison. No, he should be getting 10 years in prison. Like, the punishment, if it's a repeat offence, you should be punished for it, So if you're a repeat offender... Don't steal from
Greg's.
Moral of the story. So if you're a repeat offender, like, obviously, you've got to get it into somebody's head. And you've got to give them a few chances to rectify it. But if they're just natural fuck-ups, you've got to look after your business, haven't you? And you've got to say, look, we've tried, and it's just not getting in there. Maybe this job's just not suited for you. So
I think the hard thing is what we do is a destructive process. So we destroy
every
a
fuck-up
t-shirt.
Costs money.
Yeah, we can't undo it. We were talking that in this particular factory, we've got embroidery, 1 million heads. We've got screen print, 5 presses, and we've got DTG and DTF. Now, if DTF fuck up, they can Krebs gun the back and it falls off. If embroidery fuck up, they can shave the stitching out the back and have another go at it. If print fuck up, it's gone, it's done. It's a destructive process. We've already destroyed it. And there's nothing we can do. All right, if you've got a small leak or a small print, there's a chance you can blast it out.
Yeah. You can get rid of pinholes and fingerprints if you're lucky, but after that, no chance.
No. If it's printed in the wrong position, it's in the wrong position. If I embroider in the wrong position, I can turn the inside out, shave the stitching off, so it all falls off. I've got some holes I can brush, but then I can have another go at it. I get a Sally. Yeah. I get a free go.
A Sally? I never heard of that. Get a Sally.
You get a Sally. You get a chance. Sally, You get a chance.
So I guess really,
Sorry, I've
Still got a chest infection, by the way.
Yeah.
Couple more episodes till I shifted it. I reckon with you doing
Or I'll
all
be
this
dead.
running, I wonder if your body's just having no chance to recover. That's why it's dragged on, because
Yeah. Yeah, rest is important, and I'm not really getting a good chance to rest. You're right. Yeah.
Makes such a difference. I guess
my watch tells me when to rest, and I told it I was going for a run, and it said, "No, you're not."
Don't
Well,
know
the
that.
fuck are you? I am.
I had a fair bit on yesterday, and I just could not stand up any longer. I'm just like, I've had enough, and I went home, fell asleep at about 7:00, and I'll catch up. It'll come back to me. What I've missed on yesterday will come back to me probably quicker because I've had a sleep and just had a kip and rested.
Talk about the running watch. It's Garmin, and they have a feature called Body Battery.
Right.
And it's a plus and a minus. So it records all the stuff you take out of your body, and then it fills that battery up when you're asleep. So it knows when you're asleep.
Interesting.
So yeah, I thought it was such a simple terminology as a body battery. And, it basically said to me, no, you haven't been still for long enough. You haven't been still for long enough. We haven't had a chance to recharge. So, if you go now, you've only got 18% battery left. You've got power, but only about 18%, and you'll run out soon.
As somebody who is,
you don't know about liquid death.
It's a slippery slope, Tony lad. Trust me on that one. Oh gosh, that battery's a great analogy, and I always look at it as I'm probably a professional at draining my battery and working in that flat line red. Working in red. I'm fantastic at it.
Yeah.
But even me,
that's why you need an auto. That's why you need an auto.
Well, speaking of autos, Tony lad, would you like to see my presentation?
Okay, yeah.
Are we ready to progress this conversation onto a new topic?
Yeah, we've done now. I've done whinging now.
Right then, I'm going to give you my little presentation.
Get me old man fucking viewers on again.
And let's see. This could be one of those. This could be something that I might find this quite traumatic. Oh dear, here we go. Moment of truth. Can you see that? This is what I'm working with.
No,
Can't see it.
It's just black.
Give it a minute.
Oh, it's loading. Right, okay.
This is what I'm working with. Now, bear in mind, so this here, I don't know if you can see.
How close to that wall are you?
This is a Rock U, which is 3,600 millimeter. 3 point.
Is this upstairs?
No, this is downstairs.
All right.
This is downstairs. So this is 3.6 meter, and as you can see, not an awful lot of room here.
What room is there at the back? Okay, 60 centimeters, 0.6 of a meter. That's the the closest I would go for moving screens and getting past after you've had a Big Mac.
I've got that body shape by default at the moment. Will I? So if I take
capital B.
Yeah. Oh god. If I take this grey line and I stick another 600 mil on it, that is, a circumference. 600 mil. That is absolute cutting it very fine, bare minimal. Really wants to be 1,000 mil.
So if you had a post there, like a post that holds a ceiling up, you could have that close because you just walk round it. So that's not a big issue. Yeah. But walls, and especially the top of the stairs and things like that, they really you need to be able to squeeze past.
Well, this is what this is here. This here is this whole box.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Staircase. But what I'm saying here is it's only really this part which is an obstruction, because when you get about halfway, you can walk underneath it,
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. I'm using my fingers if you can see it on screen. There's nothing under here really. Like, I can walk under there, or I can at least crouch
that's
down.
the stairs going up
you know?
like that, so it's like an alcove.
Yeah.
so,
So
okay.
this is the start of the stairs.
We're fine then.
I
You've
mean,
got
it's
no
tight.
problem. No, it's
And
not.
I've got me. It's just a fucking panther in not an ideal spot, but like I would be. I think I can work with it. Where the fuck I'm going to put my stacks of garments, I don't know, but
Everything
it'd
the
get me by,
entrance.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Well,
Absolutely.
I think what I'd do
I don't
is
think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's tight. I've seen much tighter. I've seen us cut pieces out of a wall so that the machine can go past it like that.
wow.
Oh, mate, you wouldn't believe it. There's a place down in London where if you're not skinny, you're not getting through. You have to turn your body as you walk through. And the place that I went to, that I work for, that I'm telling you, they've put the machine so far into the corner that heads 2 and 4 are actually unusable. You can't
Well,
get
I
to
did
them.
have this thought. I thought, so worst case scenario, this press could be bumped closer to this corner, and I would just sacrifice a couple of heads.
If you did that, me and you would fall out. If you did that, every time I came to visit you, you'd have to move it away from wall. Because I'd just come and laugh. Because that's like buying a sports car and never getting out of second gear.
Yeah, but I'm honest. I'm saying this if I had to get by until I had a bigger space to put it in. I'm saying that I could do that if I really had to.
No,
looking
you'd
at
still
this,
fall out.
well, looking at this, I don't need to anyway.
No, you don't need
And
to. Is that to scale?
Yeah. I've actually
Okay,
took this from the proper drawings.
Are you in Illustrator now? Or
This is just a JPEG.
Okay. If you're in Illustrator, draw a 600mm box to scale, and then pick it up and move it around. Can you get it past there? Can you get it past there? Can you get it past there? And just see where 600mm takes you, as if it was like a pallet.
A 600mm box would... I'd do a 600mm circle. A 600mm circumference.
I know
Because
what you mean. You just offset that path by 600mm, but if you could squeeze a 600mm round that side, if those stairs go up, you can. And you've got loads. I think you've got loads of room at back and side, so I don't think you've got a problem there. It's just it's a small space. That's all. But
yeah,
I don't think there's all wrong with that.
And that's a 3.6. If you go for like a diamond back there, 3.4. So it comes in. You're buying yourself another
200mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I'm happy about that because I thought this episode was going to be "Nah, Danny, your foot. You better find a new unit." So
I mean,
I'm okay with that.
It's a 6-colour press. You'll squeeze it in. You've got enough room to work it around. It's downstairs, so you've still got all your upstairs for your ink and your screens and all your shit. So I don't think you've got a problem there.
I mean, this is what would happen up here. I'm going to close this now. I feel like we've done this to death. I mean, what I would say is, I think what my plan would be is I would get a couple of temporary folding tables. So I would keep this space clear all the time. I'd have a couple of folding tables stacked up in this corner, and then I would just open them out for, as I'm doing the job. And that's how I would function. And this space would be literally print only. Whatever job I'm doing downstairs, everything else would have to live upstairs, which isn't ideal, but I would get by, and it would get me. It would squeeze another few years out of this space.
I think so. Yeah. And if you've got the work for it, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I'd get rid of manual, and I think I would turn this upstairs into a more functional. Why are you laughing?
Because I don't think you'll get rid of manual. I think you're emotionally attached to it.
We'll see. I might not have a choice. It's bloody expensive, I might not have a choice. Well, I feel like I would. To be honest, I feel like I'd have to, because I feel like I would need this space up here. So if this space is a carbon copy of downstairs, slightly less, because the half of the stairs downstairs, which is functional because I can just about squeeze underneath, up here I'd fall. I'd fall downstairs. So there's a little bit less room up here. But I would turn this upstairs into exactly what it is, minus a press, heat presses, places to fit, just all your finishing touches and sorting and stuff with garments.
I think it's a good idea. Is it cooler down there?
Probably not, no, because there's no windows.
All right,
There's a big door though, I suppose, so maybe.
You'd have to
I've
have
actually
your
got,
compressor. You could put your compressor upstairs.
Well, my compressor would live in the screen room, so I've got to do it now. But like where the press was,
I saw to the left there was a door that goes to the screen room. Yeah, I've been in that place. I remember.
So I would run my air pipes through that wall. I'd have my compressor in that dark, shitty dungeon where I wash my screens. Annoyingly, I'd have to put my gym in there as well. So because I can't get rid of that bugger.
Move that upstairs.
Oh, I'd come through the floor. No, Jeff. Well, that's good.
I think it works. I think it works.
That's good news.
Yeah. I think it's a viable plan for a small little press. Then yeah, I think it's a good plan.
About I think 3.6 is my limit.
Yeah, I think so.
I won't go in. Some Tony said, "Oh, I've got a Diamondback E available,
Yeah,
and it will 4 meter, and that's like no chance.
that's pushing it. Yeah.
3.6 max, ideally 3.4. I don't think you can get smaller. 3.2 maybe.
X-Type 8.6. 6.8
Oh,
is
I didn't realise it was
370.
right.
Yeah, mate, Jeff.
Well,
Even tighter.
anyway, I'm
What's
not
a
getting
good
any of
meal
them yet.
between friends?
Yeah. I'll just lose a bit of weight wearing. Every inch counts, Tony lad. So I'm told.
Oh, so they tell me. That's
gosh.
what she said.
Would you be welcome to the idea of me kicking off this next segment of the podcast with a new feature, which I feel will be very popular? And that is
fucking suspicious.
another question from our friend Agony Aunt Moira.
No way.
Are you happy
You
with
got. Let's go for it. Yeah, yeah.
that? Let me bring it up. I'm not going to put it on screen because I feel like I did a disservice by not just reading it out.
It
Right.
prompted me to write an article. Images did that.
Did it?
Yeah, yeah. On squeegee durometer.
I've had a few, so I'm just gonna start saving them now, and I'll bring them up.
All from Auntie Moira.
All from Auntie Moira. I think I've solved the puzzle. I think I know what it is, but I'm going to leave it as a mystery because I feel like it's more fun that way. So, hello, dears. I hope you're having a sweltering time in your hot house of a screen print, love. I have a question that I hope you can help me with. Other day, I had one of those irritating little customers, you little bastards, who asked me to print 100 black hoodies with a white print and then 5 grey hoodies with same printing but in black ink. What a nuisance those people are. Is this a service you offer? And if so, how do you price that up? I would rather wash a puppy who was rolled over in its own excrement than I would press wash a screen. What do you do? Love your Auntie Moira. Auntie Moira.
Well, Auntie Moira is obviously a printer.
Oh yeah, it's a printer.
And I think
I'll be honest.
I'd rather wash a shitty puppy than I'd rather try and give a cat a tablet than wash the screen
true.
like that. Yeah, it's called a colourway change. It's the bane of our industry. We call it a colourway. It's a colourway change, and we charge a fee for it. And so there is a colourway charge. It's usually a tenner. It's usually 10 of whatever local currency you're in, whether it's baht or dollar or pound or quid, whatever it is. And it's to pay for the inconvenience of having to clean the fucking screen out. And it's always easier to print the black first and then wash the black
Yeah.
than try and scrub the white.
Bit more stubborn, innit?
but they're both as hard as. If you're in the manual range, you just got to suck it up, buttercup, put some gloves on, get some press wash out, and scrub away. And if you know it's happening, tape it to death first.
Yeah.
Don't clean that tape. Remove that tape and put it back on. It's in the auto world, we all made the decision. 90% of people made the decision that it's more economical because don't forget we're selling time. We're only selling time.
Just chuck another screen in.
To make another screen. The other screen costs us £5. We've already
if you've
worked
got
out
auto-reg systems,
auto
matter,
everything. We basically make another screen, costs us £5. We throw it in, we take one out, put another one in, it's done. So that's the solution on an auto with auto reg, is make another screen. It's so worth it. Getting that in across to some old printers is difficult. They don't believe that.
Yeah.
It'll take me 2 minutes to wash it out. Yeah, but actual stopped press time was 25 minutes. That press was earning me £600 an hour.
So spinning.
Washing that screen out, you just cost me 250 quid.
Yeah.
It don't make any sense. I can spend £5 and make another screen. If it cost me 20 quid to make another screen, I'd make another screen. Because you're only stopped for 5 minutes.
If it's pin reg system, what you're talking a minute to swap a screen, if that.
Less than that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a no-brainer in that case. I've always been a bit stubborn about it, me. I've had to come to terms with it might actually be costing me orders at the moment. But I've always sort of just not done it. I would if somebody came to me and said I want 100 t-shirts, 50 with black print, 50 with white print, I charge that as 2 jobs. 50 white shirts, and then the black shirts, it's just its own job. And it's priced so that the print price is within that 50 range, which makes, to me...
What about this scenario? What about Auntie Moira's scenario that 100 black hoodies and 5 grey ones? What would you do there?
This is, to be honest, that has just come up actually. Somebody wants, I think it's a 6-colour job. 6-colour job, front and back. Minimum number of t-shirts, so 20. And they haven't actually told me the split, but I know they want a black and white variation. So I'm going to assume they're going to want black t-shirts, and then they're thinking, we'll chuck in some white at the end for crew. So like maybe 5 white, 15 black. There's not a chance in hell I'm doing that. I've just tried to explain. Well, yeah, you'd have to go down DTF route or something like that. I've tried to explain, look, we're not going to do that screen print. And plus, if we did, it'd cost you so much more, you might as well just go for at least 20 black, 20 white, Yeah. I think I would. So what I have done in this case is I've tried to convince them, look, if you order 20 garments and the print is the exact same across all 20. So let's say it's the print version that goes on the black shirts. That same print is going to work on a sport grey t-shirt or a red or a blue or a green. So in that case, actually, you can mix and match your t-shirt colours quite generously. The only limitation is just don't go white. And that's what I've tried to put across. So I said,
white text. White text is hard. As it goes on to grey, it just works, but then it doesn't have to any lighter than that. Yeah. I don't know. I guess. Let me just look at that question one more time. 100 black hoodies with a white print and then 5. I mean, it depends on grey, doesn't it? If it's sport grey, but they want a black print.
Like this. Well, we'll just say no. Just saying, look, we can do you. Nah, just say no. It's not worth it.
I say yes, but it'll cost you an extra tenner for the colour change.
Well, I guess it comes down to this: what type of ink are you printing? Because if I were printing water-based, no chance. I'm not doing it.
I think it'd be easier water-based.
I think the screen would break down.
Easier to clean. Well, then you're doing something wrong with your emulsion.
you're right. I think you're right. I think this is why I've been thinking about trying
The lava.
the lava. The Sarti PHU. If anybody prints this emulsion and they're listening, feel free to tell me if you disagree. But in my opinion, and I think I'm doing everything right, just about. It starts to break down. I don't think you could colour swap that emulsion, personally.
You should be able to. You should be able to easily colour swap it.
Aquaflex just soaks in that. It just soaks in Aquaflex white.
Yeah.
Maybe that's. I tell you
It's
what.
made. It's not. It shouldn't do. It should be. You should be able to wash the screen.
Like I could power wash it. I could power wash it clean. I could. And I could chuck it on press and get away with it. But I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want. But if that'd involve taking it off for a start.
Yeah, so registration.
So it's pointless. I don't think I could get it on. I don't think I could get all ink out and scrub away at it and get it spotted. I could. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth doing. This is why I think this is the conclusion for me. Not worth bothering.
I think opposite. I think it's worth doing for a tenner. I think a tenner charge to let the customer, so the customer doesn't take the piss, and the chance of keeping the job is increased rather than risking losing the job.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, so whenever I get a job or a quote, I have like a folder on the side of my screen for that customer. And when the job's finished, it goes into a server. So, you know, my whole screen's not covered in folders. But if it's still in the quoting stages, I'll have the folder with artwork just ready. And I dragged all the icons for quotes that had not been successful and put them all in one big fucking pile over the past couple of weeks. And I thought, God, that is a high number of jobs that
You're not getting.
that I've not got. They've gone elsewhere. And it struck me. It was only this morning because normally it's not something I've ever paid too much attention to.
You need to know why you're not getting them.
Well, it prompted me to make a note on my marginal gains. One, I need to make that a trackable statistic, which is easily done.
You haven't got a picture of your face on your Instagram or anything, have you? Because that would obviously put people off.
That hurt a bit, actually, Tony.
Sorry, it's not you. It's me. I'll change.
That says more about you than it does me. But yeah, it made me think, right, well, maybe I should implement it so that it tracks that, which is easily enough done on Monday. And that will then in turn make me think, well, what can I do to make sure jobs, to increase the percentage of successful from quote to actual job. That's as far as I got, actually, because that was literally this morning in my head.
Yeah, you need to know. You need to know why you're not getting them. Is it price related? Is it service related? Is it your telephone manner?
Well, my telephone manner is like no. Very rarely anybody phones me, so it's not that. My email manner is exceptional.
Is it worth getting somebody in to deal with these? Because you're so busy printing that you might be losing business.
Could be response
by not
time.
Responding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that somebody breaking in?
Oh, probably. It's not mine. It'll be next door. I think there's a lot of things. Yeah, it could be a lot of things. I think I'm just a little bit more receptive to it at this moment in time because I've had a week or two where I've realised my inbox has gone real quiet. Just a bit of a dip right now. Not a major problem. I'm not going to cry about it at all. But these things happen. We all have peaks and dips.
Peaks and troughs, mate. Peaks and troughs. School holidays is a difficult time because the kids go on holiday. You say, well, kids aren't buying T-shirts. No, but the mums and dads are. And if they're away on holiday as well, then they're not sat at home buying T-shirts. So, we've got to understand that there is always this dip at the beginning of the summer as the kids disappear on holiday, the schools break up, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I felt that. The funny thing is about a dip is your reaction to it is delayed because you've got 2 or 3 weeks worth of work keeping you busy anyway. So it's only 2 or 3 weeks later, and you're like, hang on a minute, I haven't had any money recently. So what about? But anyway.
This is the importance of a good visual system where you can see what's happening, and trying to, managing the peaks is a lovely problem to have. And we can work late and we can bring extra staff in, but managing the troughs, that's the hard bit. Knowing that if you look back historically and know that the 3 weeks being the last week in June and the first 2 weeks in July have been quiet for the last 5 years, you can put an offer on in May and say, right, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to print T-shirts for £1 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Just
to try and knowing that even though you smack it middle of your 500 run and you're sweating your tits off, and you'd be crazy to ask for more work, actually, by the time it comes through, you historically have always had a dip there. It's like the Christmas dip.
Yeah.
We know we're always going to have it, so if we plan to fill it in autumn,
that's right,
fall, then it'll be better.
I've been chipping away on my marginal gains as best as I can with very little time to spare, on what I'm going to call a sales on-off switch. And it is along those lines. It's a reactive measure, but I can flick, and I believe will fill those gaps.
A long time ago, when Google pay-per-click was an effective way of getting work, we would do that. Right, okay. And it was based on production alone. And we sit down, have a production meeting, and how's it going? You're going to have to turn it off. Really?
Yeah.
If you don't turn it off for at least 3 days, I'm going to be 3 weeks out. And we thrive on a week out. The 7-day turnaround is what we thrive on. It's what we advertise on. And if you keep that button turned on, it's going to go to 10 to 14 to 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm not saying don't sell anything. I'm just saying turn that turbo button off for a bit.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know when to turn it back on again. Which is, it sounds counterproductive, stop selling stuff.
No, you've got to do, haven't you? There's nothing worse than
oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Like this podcast.
There's nothing worse because it just sets a snowball. Yeah. Just sets off a snowball, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not pay-per-click what the route I've gone down. I've been down that route a few times. Pay-per-click's one of those things where you've got to know what you're doing, but you've got to invest. And you've got to invest because you don't know the results of, you've got to come at this advert and the campaign and the settings and the wording and the visual aspects of it. If it's an Instagram ad, for example, you've got to preempt, you've got to know your shit before you set it up. Yeah. And you can preempt and guesstimate this will be effective. But then you've got to run it for a certain amount of time and react to the results that Google shows you, and you've got to know how to tweak, which takes money. So it's about like ads, Google ads. I mean, it'd be cool if anybody's listening who does it. You don't have to give me a secret or anything, but just tell me it works, because I would bet it's a small number of people who actually do, because it's such a money pit. Yeah. And if they do, they've probably invested a lot before they've got to a point where, okay, it pays for itself now.
It now works, yeah.
If you can crack it, you're laughing, but...
We got to the point where we were almost buying the work. You're paying 70 pence for something that you were only making 80 pence on.
Yeah.
This is not worth it now. Buying the work just doesn't work. Yeah, sure, it keeps the lights on, but eventually it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And we turn it off because it was just too expensive.
Yeah. There's a lot of free tools out there that are ways to market. Lots and lots and lots of free tools. And you've just got to invest some time and effort, and you can bring in sales for a relatively small amount of money. Just got to put time into it, really.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been working on.
Good.
So I've got one more question for you,
Okay.
because this is a listener question.
It's not a
I
shag
took
marry
over a bit
avoid,
here,
is it?
No. I took over a bit here. Have you got anything you'd like to discuss?
No, you've been good. Run with it. It's fine.
So
Apparently people can't understand me anyway, so they understand you.
Yeah. So our mate Everpress asked a question: what's better for top colours? Standard mesh, but higher tension, 28 to 30 newtons, or hydro mesh and lower tension, 20 to 20 newtons? Now I'm wondering if this is asking really. He's trying to weigh up the pros and cons of hydro mesh. Does hydro mesh hold less tension, or does it lose it quicker? And I guess
it's not that it loses it. It's fucking precious,
Right.
because there's more holes than string, and that string is very thin and fine. If a fly lands on it a little bit heavily, it busts, and the more tension, the more easily it busts. So they tend to stretch them a little bit less tension, because
Right.
when they're stretching them, they bust as well, and they don't want to lose screens. So
No.
they do tend to be a little bit less tension. It's a good question. I would go for a standard mesh with higher tension if you're in relation to top colours. Is that what the question was? Top colours?
Yeah.
So in relation to top colours, so this is colours that get printed onto a base, the open quantity of ink is not as important as the release of the shear as it prints. The base white, hydro, 100%, because that is more hole than string. If we think of a string vest, it's more
You
hole
want
than
more
string.
ink from a base.
So I do want more ink on the base, and then I'm going to control anything there by flashing it. And then going on the top, I don't want shitloads of ink. That's why I've picked a 290 mesh.
Yeah.
Fucking numbers are in my head. It's just crazy. That's why I want that high tension mesh, high count mesh. And that's why I want my medium composite blade with very little angle, because I don't want a lot of ink. And if I've got open holes, bigger holes than smaller string, which is the hydro theory, then I'm going to get more ink. In fact, I'm going to get the same amount of ink as if I were putting it on a 77 or a 62. Well, I know it won't run with a 77, so there's no point dropping it down. So, in summary, top colours, no need to use hydro mesh on water-based or plastisol, and I keep the tension as high as your screen maker will allow.
The smaller the hole, the better.
Like a mouse's ear.
Like a mouse's lug oil. How are we doing for time? Do we need to think about
I'm
wrapping
running
it up?
out. Yeah, I'm running out. Yeah, we've got about
Have
5
we got
minutes
time
left.
for one last heartwarming story?
Go for it, yeah.
So I put a sign above my door, just bottom of this window, last week.
Help wanted.
Solicitors.
Sister
Fuck off.
wanted.
No, just a flipping sweet logo. It said something like "flipping sweet, visitors by appointment only."
Yeah.
Just because I'm getting pig sick of DPD and other couriers pretending they can't find me. We've got no excuse now, and actually it's worked. I've had far less couriers.
I
say
found
they
it
can't
hard to
find
find you when I came to see you because there's no signage there at all.
Well, no, that was on purpose. I have had a slight mindset shift as a result of this
to
story.
keep me
actually.
out, you twat.
No. Just to keep people in general out. See, that's a long story. Ask me about that next. I'm going to note that down for next week because that's a slightly long and we're short for time. So anyway, I put my sign up, and no later than a day after, he had a knock on the door. I went downstairs and there was this old bloke called Brian. And he was he was 73 years old, a rockabilly, an old rocker, or a teddy boy.
A rockabilly teddy boy, yeah?
Still doing it, 73 years old. And he could shift as well. He was up and down my stairs, no bother. He was kept fitted, lad. He's only a small bloke, but you wouldn't have guessed he was 73 anyway. He knocked on the door and he's had a magazine for 50 years, a rockabilly, teddy boy, teddy girl magazine. It's been running for 50 years. And he just happened to be walking past and he said, I wonder if he can do T-shirts. It turns out we can. Debatable. And so he actually, have I got the picture? He came in, he had a chat with him, and it was fantastic. He was telling me some rock. I mean, I could listen to that bloke for weeks. He was telling me stories about
this is right
mods
down your
versus
alley
rockers.
Well,
Oh, it's right up my alley, this.
yeah.
Literally. Crackhead alley, specifically. And he was telling me all these stories about mods versus rocker and all scraps we used to get into and stuff like this. He was telling me about the teddy girls, which I'd never heard of, but it was a thing. And anyway, he said, well, I'm glad I've met you. I'm going to come back and I'm going to get some T-shirts done. And I thought, all right, yeah. Because you get it, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. No, it turned up. I'm going to have to show you on my phone because I don't think I've got it on my computer, but turned up and he had fantastic this. Now, normally this is the type of thing where I'd go, oh, for fuck's sake. But I loved this. I don't know if you can see that.
No.
There you
go. Yeah.
He came up with a piece of paper which he had drawn with Tipp-Ex, white Tipp-Ex, and a black Sharpie, and then cut around it the outline. He'd made a T-shirt print design, like by hand.
Because you can't do it. You haven't got a computer, so this is what I want it to look like.
Old. He don't know any better. And you know what? Normally you'd be like, really? But on this occasion I thought, it's too sweet this not to. And I just enjoyed it. So yeah, I just took a picture, vectorized it, and I'm going to be running 50 shirts off for him.
Awesome.
I can't wait for him to come back, just to listen to his stories. He's a hell of a chap. Isn't it nice that?
I like that.
So when you asked me at the start of the episode, what's revitalised you? Brian's revitalised me.
Brian the teddy boy.
Brian Teddy Boy.
Brian the teddy boys give you a new lease of life. That's good. That there's a reason we do this shit. Think back to your 500 job last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were at an absolute low, pulling shirts with no enjoyment whatsoever, and then along comes Brian, sent to you just to save you. Yeah, I like that. That's a nice story.
Yeah. But the mindset shift as a result, because I've told this story, and I'll give you a quick short version. I used to have a big unit, big glass front, showroom, and I had people in and out of that door all day for the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
It was for birthday T-shirts. It were people asking for business cards. Do you do photocopying? Totally wrong stuff. And my mindset at the time, and bear in mind, this was at the same time that I essentially was on the verge of going bankrupt. Like, how I was away of just losing everything. So it was a bad time anyway. But my mindset at the time was, when I had to get out of that unit, I had to go to a smaller place, stripped everything back. Right, just go lock yourself away. Don't need any signage, don't need nothing. You just need somewhere where you can live in your little bubble, concentrate on printing and getting stuff out at the door and grow your business again. And that was my mindset. And I've sort of strayed away from having any advertising. I've never wanted anybody to know I'm here at all. Apart from DPD drivers.
Yeah. Which,
comes in handy. But that little story, only a day. And as a result of that sign that I put outside paid for itself. And I think maybe the lesson I've learned is all those years ago when I used to get pestered non-stop, maybe I should have said, God, it's a nuisance this, isn't it? Maybe I just wasn't communicating what I was doing better. Yeah. In terms of my signage.
Yeah.
And that's all I need to remember. And I might put another little sign outside that just breaks down and says, look, this is what we do. Here's a minimum quantity. We can't do personalised one-offs. That's all it is. Just make it nice and clear.
Yeah.
And
filter them out before they get through the door. Yeah.
Yeah. And that might bring in a bit more work. Marginal
that sign
gains.
outside that's your Google AdWords, and it needs to do exactly what you want it to do. You don't want a Google AdWords that says, we cut Poodle's hair.
That's right, yeah.
and you'd never put a sign outside your door that said that. So yeah, it's a good analogy. The sign outside the door is your Google AdWords.
I might
Don't
even be
waste your money on
tempted to get a solid A board, just put it at the end of the street, because this is Crackhead Alley.
You'll get
And
nicked.
well, it might do, but might sell it for drugs, But it's a risk you take, isn't it? But nobody really walks down this alley unless you try to get to the bus stop.
It's a bit scary, really, unless you're trying to do a deal.
Unless you're hard as fuck.
No need to walk down there, yeah.
No. Well, to be fair, Brian said, I don't usually walk down here, to be fair. So, lovely story, yeah?
I
Let's
think that's a
leave
good
it
one.
at that.
It's a good one to end on, is that as well. So,
You have to work now?
I'm going to go to work now. It's 7:30 in the morning. So, yeah, my day's about to start. Got a day
Like you said,
at
you got a date then. Fucking
at
not made a bit
SPSI. So I'm they've just installed a brand spanking new machine, so I'm going to be resetting that and re-registering and making sure that's good. If you're not busy, we'll do a little video call if you want.
What, today?
Yeah, in a couple of hours.
Give me a shout.
Are you? What time are you on? Are you on 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock? Or?
I'm on 1:30 right now.
1:30.
So there's a few hours left.
Get a couple of hours printing in, so in a couple of hours' time, maybe do a quick call and I'll give you a walkthrough of what it's like at the other side of we'll call them suppliers rather than dealers, because every time I say dealer, I keep thinking of drugs. So we'll call them a supplier, a machinery supplier.
Right.
Yeah?
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Right, so
Smashing.
with that, we will wrap up episode 51 of the Chippy Tea podcast. You have been listening to and been subjected to me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
Danny D from Flipping Sweet Print Co. Thank you so much.
we will catch up with you again next week when it will be our 52nd episode. So that marks a milestone.
We sort of skirted over the fact that it was last week. We half-arsed it. I don't think I could be asked, to be honest, on the day. So let's make some of the 52nd, which technically should be our anniversary.
Where will I be? I'll be either New York or somewhere around there. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some good internet connection. If not, I don't know how I can use my phone.
I'm going to get some beers in, but I feel like it might be a bit early for you.
It will be a little bit early for me. Yeah. 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll have to stick to my liquid death or whatever it's
You
called,
have your liquid death.
Which, by the way, is really nice. So it is. Its description is, this psychotic can of iced tea will use agave and 8 vitamins to savagely murder your thirst and turn its insides into balloon animals to book gigs at children's birthday parties.
Amazing. I want some. That
Iced
sounds
tea and
dreadful,
agave.
but I want some. Look how marketing works. It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
So on that bombshell, we will leave you to it. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Leave us a comment. Do anything to get us bumped up the algorithm that is working its magic in the background. We do appreciate it. We really do thrive off the interaction, like Auntie Moira.
We do, actually, yeah.
It makes our day. Fantastic. It really does make our day. So thank you very much for being involved. We want more. Get in touch, drop a comment on either Danny's Instagram, my Instagram, or on Chippy Tea Official. Have we got a Threads account yet?
I don't think Chippy Tea. Oh, actually, maybe that's something to do. Flipping Sweet has, but I forgot.
I did it yesterday.
Chippy Tea.
I won't go back to it. I think, what the fuck's this? I've got Twitter already.
I'm sick of it already. It's irritating me already. The first, I've been on it more than 5 minutes, and already my feed is full of Brad Pitt and porn stars. And I'm like, I don't need to see this shit. I don't care.
Try clearing your search history.
Oh, do it just know your cache, does it? Is that what it does? Well, if that's the case, I'm fucked because I'll never get rid of it.
Right, on that bombshell, all that's left to say is, I'll see you.
See you. All the best.
Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.